Hello and welcome to Sad Times, the podcast by sad people for sad people. I'm your host, Alyssa, and today I'm finally going to be talking about Julien Baker's latest album, Little Oblivions. Before the last episode, there were like 3 weeks of me not posting. I didn't post one last week. I'm still struggling with, one, I'm struggling with lack of motivation. Two, I'm struggling with figuring out a routine of when to record and when to edit. I'm still not back in school yet. The day this goes up, it'll be my first day back at school. So hopefully once I have a set schedule, it'll be easier for me to figure out when to do things, because when I'm out of school, my work schedule is kind of all over the place. And I'm not making excuses. I easily could have figured it out. But that mixed with the lack of motivation, makes it a little tough. But speaking of back to school, like I said, the day this goes up is my first day back, and it's also the first day of my radio show, first day of the new season, which is very exciting. Maybe I'll post the episodes through these social medias if you want to hear more of me talking about music, and you guys can check it out. It'll be the last season of the radio show, which I'm very upset about. And if you listen to the first episode or you know me, you know that radio show is kind of the gateway into me starting this podcast. So yeah, it's called Emo Hour. Very excited to be back with that too, because I love doing my radio show. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be discussing Little Oblivions, but I'm going to be talking about that in a little bit. First, I wanted to kind of talk about the music that has come out over the past, I guess, month of me not being consistent with this, because last week, or the last episode, I should say, when I had a guest, obviously I wasn't really talking about new music. I was just kind of talking to Medical Miracle, which was great episode. You should definitely check it out. Thank you again to Jade and Richard for doing that. But anyway, so yeah, let's catch up. The same day that Julien Baker put out Little Oblivions was the same day that Charlie Hickey released his EP, Count the Stairs. And I've talked about Charlie Hickey on here before. He's an incredible artist that works with Marshall Vore. Phoebe is on the EP doing background vocals on more than one song. And she featured him on the Launch Left podcast. And he actually played one of the songs on his EP on that, which is a couple years old at this point. And that song was Two Haunted Houses, which happens to be one of my favorites from the EP. So I highly recommend that you check out that song, if not the whole entire EP. I think Charlie Hickey is a really great singer-songwriter, and I'm excited to see what he puts out in the future. No Good at Lying is still one of my favorite songs off of the EP, even though it was a single. Sometimes I feel by the time a piece of work comes out, I've beat the singles to death where I'm kind of over it, but that's definitely not the case for that song. I just really, really like it. Another really big moment for the indie gays, which is I constantly say, really my target demographic here, was Lucy Dacus releasing Thumbs. I don't think I heard this song live. I think she only started playing it live. It was either towards the end of the Boy Genius tour or after that, and I don't think I heard this live. I should do research and see. Well, I don't remember it regardless, but she started playing this live, and she made special requests for no one to record it or post it anywhere, and everyone kept their wishes. But everyone who heard it live was constantly, I would always see it on Twitter, Lucy, when are you going to release Thumbs? Lucy, when are you going to release Thumbs? And then a bunch of people started receiving VHS tapes of the song, which was really cool. I think there were only 100 of them. A couple of people I follow on Twitter received the VHS. A lot of people were just saying that they randomly selected people that purchased her record through Matador. So that's really cool. I like when artists do that. Haley did a very similar thing when she was releasing Flowers for Vases. I don't know, cryptic things like that are just really fun. But then she wound up releasing the song, I don't know, a week or two later. I'm assuming that this is the first that we're getting of her next album. I'm assuming. I could be wrong, but I think that if it is, then it is an incredible introduction to an album or a new era, I guess. She is such a strong songwriter, and I think that this song is like a really interesting perspective of like, basically it's about daddy issues, but it's like, which, you know, I'm here for, you know what I mean? I relate. But basically this song is kind of from the perspective of like your friend has daddy issues and like what you wish you could do to the dad, you know? Which I live for, which like I'm like, wow, like that's probably how my friends feel about like me and my dad. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I'm not. But to Pitchfork, she said, like most songs I write, I wasn't expecting it and it made me feel weird, almost sick. It tells the story of a day I had with a friend during our freshman year of college, a significant day, but not one that I had thought about for years. I started playing it live a month or so later during the Boy Genius tour after Phoebe and Julien encouraged me to. I knew I wanted a long time to get used to playing it since it made me feel so shaky, so I ended sets with it for about half of the shows I played in 2019. Before I played it, I would ask the audience to please not record it, a request that seems to be respected, which I am grateful for. Yeah, the chorus is definitely pretty powerful. I'll read the last chorus. I would kill him if you let me. I would kill him quick and easy. Your nails are digging into my knee. I don't know. How you keep smiling, I don't know. How you keep smiling, I don't know. How you keep smiling. And then the outro is, I want to take your face between my hands and say, you two are connected by a pure coincidence, bound to him by blood, but baby, it's all relative. You've been in his fist ever since you were a kid. But you don't owe him shit, even if he said you did. You don't owe him shit, even if he said you did. I don't know. Very, very, very heavy, but like I said, an incredible song, and if it is part of the next Lucy Dacus album, an incredible introduction and opening to whatever she's about to put out. We also got a new single from Crum called Trophy. Crum is a band that one of my best friends showed me, Danny, actually. I don't know if he's gonna listen to this. We'll see. If he did, then, you know, maybe he'll like reach out and be like, wow, thanks for the shout out. So this is a test to see if he's a real one. No, I'm kidding. I don't care if he doesn't listen. But yeah, he showed me one of their songs off Jinx, and I really, really liked it. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I can be very hypocritical when people show me music. Like when I show people music and they don't listen to it, like I get so like offended. But when people send me music, like it takes a lot for me to listen to it because I don't know, I'm pretentious and I'm an asshole. But he played this for me and I was actually pleasantly surprised, and I was like, wow, this is actually very good. And yeah, got really into Crum, and this is the first time that I'm like here for them releasing new music. Does that make sense? Like, I found Jinx after it came out, so like this is the first time I'm experiencing their music as it's coming out. Does that make sense? I think it does, but I'm also explaining it terribly. But anyway, Trophy, definitely check it out. There's also a music video, and there's also a performance video of them performing it on a roof. So that's great. I almost saw them live, and I didn't for some reason, and I regret it. I really wish I did. I'm pretty sure that was at the end of 2019, and that probably would have been my last concert. You know, one day I'll probably see them. Also, I think the lead singer is beautiful, but I'm not sure if she's gay. I get gay vibes, but I'm not sure. Not like it matters, but like I need to know, you know? Also, we got new Spotify singles from Phoebe, including a cover of Summer's End by John Prine, and a new version of Kyoto, which I'll get to in a second. Well, no. I'll just say it now. This is gonna sound, I don't know if this is gonna make me sound like bad or whatever, but I'm kind of sick of the versions of Kyoto. Like, I understand that it's the most commercially appealing song. I totally get it. But I don't know. Like, when that was a song for Spotify singles, I was like, because it was right before the Grammys, I was like, okay, like, it makes sense. This is the song that's nominated for Grammys, but I'm just like, I don't know, kind of just like over Kyoto. But like, that could totally just be me being an asshole. Like, I don't know, maybe everyone else loves these versions of it. I don't know. Anyway, wait, so let's get back to the Summer's End cover, which is great. She also covered this song on an Instagram live for Pitchfork last year, toward the beginning of COVID, when she was like playing songs in her bedroom. But getting a studio version of it is great. I will never be over artists doing covers. Like, I love when artists do covers so much. And I wish that every cover every artist did was always like professionally recorded for my own selfish reasons. But yeah, so I was very happy to get a studio version of this. And fast forward to the Grammys, like I said, this was released the week of, and they were doing a John Prine tribute. In my head, I'm like, maybe Phoebe will come out, like, you know, but she didn't. But that would have been everything. Let's talk about the Grammys really quick as well. So Phoebe did not win any, in case you were not aware. And obviously, like, I am a huge Phoebe Bridgers fan, and have been for years at this point. But Meg absolutely deserved to win Best New Artist. So going into it, I knew that Phoebe wasn't gonna win that. And then I think the other three were all announced in the pre-show. So that was rock performance, rock song, and album. And I don't know, I was like, maybe, like, I really thought that she'd win at least one of them, but, you know, she didn't. And, like, then once I, you know, like, Fiona won, I think, 2 of the 3 of them, I was like, okay, that makes sense. It's literally Fiona Apple. And I'm sure Phoebe didn't give a fuck. Oh, what she tweeted after, like, stop the count or whatever. That was funny. But, yeah, but I'm sure she's fine with it. Like, you know, as I always say, it's just an honor to be nominated, whatever. But yeah, it was great to just see her there. Like, it really, like, I've talked about this a lot, but it really is just crazy, like, how big she's become over the past year. Yeah, it's crazy what Punisher did. Like, the trajectory of Punisher was just insane. But yeah, okay. Also, speaking of the Grammys, the whole WAP thing, the fact that, like, this is still, like, a controversy, like, who gives a fuck? Like, literally, who gives a fuck? The song being controversial when it first came out, like, really fucking pissed me off, because I'm like, do you not hear every fucking, you know, big rap song by men that is, like, the exact same fucking thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, just as explicit and, like, vulgar and, like, degrading, and, like, no one says anything, because obviously there's a double standard with everything. But, like, I don't know. I love WAP. I love Meg. I love Cardi. Also, so, like, everyone flipping out about the performance, like, that performance was the best performance of the night. I will say Cardi, there were some moments that were lacking. You know what I mean? But let's talk about Meg's little intro. You're gonna have people fucking tap dancing. Like, that was everything. And then, you know, Cardi had her little thing. Then they started WAP. It was the best fucking performance of the night. No, runner-up, in my opinion, was Dua Lipa. Anyway, yeah, I just want to say fuck everyone who has something to say about that. And, like, you know, it's on network TV and kids are watching. Okay, this is, like, I'm getting, like, really passionate about this. Like I've mentioned on here before, I was a #Barb, kind of still am, but, like, Nikki would always get the same shit, like, from people, like, kids are watching you, and, like, you know, you're talking about all this, you know, you're speaking so explicitly and whatever. It is not their fucking job to parent your kids. If you don't want your kids to hear, you know, them rap and sing about wet ass pussy, then that's on you. Do you know what I mean? Also, why are your kids watching the Grammys that end at, like, fucking 11:30 at night? Like, that's on you. Like, that's not their fucking responsibility. It just drives me fucking crazy that, like, that's, like, the argument. And I think it was Brittany Broski did a video with Trixie Mattel, whatever. And I'm a huge Drag Race Trixie fan, whatever. And she was like, you know, we were singing along to Lil Wayne, Lick Me Like a Lollipop, and, like, no one said anything about that. Like, we've had these very explicit songs, always. You know what I mean? And whatever. Just fucking get over it. Stop hating women, and move on. Also, all you fucking parents that are mad about it, I'm sure if you go on your kid's TikTok, they probably did a fucking TikTok to WAP anyway. So, like I said, maybe you should, like, look inwards and, like, focus on yourself. And, like, if you don't want your kid doing that, like, talk to them. Don't get fucking mad at Meg and Cardi and the Grammys. Like, fuck you. I don't care. Also, speaking about the Grammys, I don't know if Justin Bieber won any. I should look it up. But I'm glad that everything that I was paying attention to, at least, like, he didn't win, and I was happy about that because his whole, like, Grammy, like, he was, like, mad when the nominations came out because, like, he wasn't up for, like, R&B album. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, be lucky that you know, are being nominated for Grammys when, like, the level of, like, racism and sexism that, like, are heavily, like, innate in that culture, like, that is the real issue. Fucking Yummy not being up for an R&B song is, like, the least of the fucking problems of the Grammys. Meanwhile, you have The Weeknd, who released, like, one of the biggest songs of the year, and it, you know, was performed at the fucking Super Bowl halftime, got zero recognition. Like, you as a straight white man, I don't care. Like, Folklore is in a pop album, but you don't see, like, Taylor Swift flipping out about that. Like, just who fucking cares? So I was very happy to see, like, whatever I was paying attention to, he didn't win. But like I said, he could have won other things, and I just don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It just made me fucking mad. Anyway, yeah. So I think that's it for my little catch up, my little rant. Let's get into Little Oblivions. As before, I mentioned that I'm like, you know, I kind of fell off with, like, being consistent with this. I'm really gonna try to do this, you know, be regular with this. But I want to mention that I'm kind of glad in a way that it happened. Me trying to justify being inconsistent and lazy. I'm kind of glad that it happened the way it did, because I knew that the next episode I wanted to do was discussing Little Oblivions. And I'm glad that I kind of had more time to listen to it and live with it, because obviously the longer you do that for, the more you pick up on, the more, I don't know, it just, obviously if I just listened to it once or twice and just went into doing went into talking about it, it wouldn't have been as extensive. I don't know, maybe this won't even be that great. Yeah, but I got my Little Oblivions merch on. I don't know if you could even see it, but this is actually the first time wearing the shirt. But yeah, pre-ordered it, obviously. Got, like, the splatter vinyl. You can see, it's right. Can I point to it? It's right there. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see it behind me. Yeah, okay, let's just talk about this in general really quick. Last album we got from Julien Baker was in 2017, Turn Out the Lights. We talked about Faith Healer, I think, in one of the first couple episodes. So I already discussed this, but, you know, this is her first time putting out an album as a solo artist, but with a full band. She was in a band before that, you know, Forrester / the Star Killers, but, you know, this is her first time as Julien Baker presenting herself with a full band, and I was very excited for it. I think that she naturally fits in a band. Also, she literally tracked everything herself, like the credits on the album. She did vocals, guitar, bass, drums, percussion, and she also produced it. And I feel like if I was a musician, like, I would probably be the same way, because I'm kind of a control freak. But yeah, it was definitely a big departure, you know, from her first two albums, which were a lot more stripped down, you know, not really straying away from guitar, piano. Yeah, maybe some violin. And then lyrically speaking, it's definitely the most direct she's been about her, you know, her substance abuse and things like that, which I know that she doesn't like to get too specific about, so I don't want to, like, dwell on it too much, because, you know, be into, like, invasive or whatever. But I mean, that's always been there in her music, but I feel like it just was a lot more raw on Little Oblivions, which we'll get to when we're gonna go track by track and kind of go through everything. Through and through, it's a Julien Baker album. You know what I mean? You get the highs and the lows, and just peak sad songs. Just, like, I feel like all the artists I listen to, well, let me not get dramatic. A lot of the music I like is sad music, but I feel like Julien Baker's, like, quintessential sad songs, like, very, very emotional, very, very just, like I said, just raw. I don't know. I don't know. So it's, like I said, everything I expect from a Julien Baker album. Julien Baker is really the first indie artist I got into. I don't know if I've discussed this before on here. I just talk so much in general that I forget sometimes what my audience was when I say certain things. But yeah, so she was the first artist I really got into, and then it kind of opened the door for me to find a bunch of other people. Everyone I listen to now, really. But her albums are really special to me, especially Turn Out the Lights. I found her on Turn Out the Lights, so that and Sprained Ankle kind of go hand in hand for me. Like, I was listening to them kind of at the same time period in my life. Yeah, they're just really important albums to me, and they were there for me throughout, like, I'm trying to remember, I guess it was like a sophomore in college, and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing with my life, and I was like gonna start transferring schools, and it was a little crazy, but her music was there for me and really like made me feel better. I think I want to say my 2018 Spotify Wrapped. It was either my 2018 or my 2019 Spotify Wrapped. Like, my number one song was Good News by Julien Baker, which is definitely one of her saddest fucking songs. And it was the year on Spotify Wraps where it like went through the seasons, like what you were listening to, and like the song of the summer for me was Good News by Julien Baker. And I remember I went through a phase where every time I got in my car, whether I was going to work or whatever, I would put that on and just like scream it. So that should give you some kind of indication as to who I am as a person. Yeah, I just really love Julien Baker. Just want to establish that. So Faith Healer was the first single we got towards the end of last year, and really set the scene for everything. We're like, okay, this is what the fuck we're gonna get. We're gonna be getting her smart ass fucking lyrics, because she's like such an intellectual person, and we're getting, you know, this full band setup, and it was super exciting. Then we got Hardline, which is probably might be my favorite single. And Hardline is actually opener of the album, which we're gonna get into in a second. Then we got Favor, which features Boy Genius, which is super exciting. This is like the second Boy Genius feature extravaganza. Well, I guess not including Hayley Williams' song, but I mean, we got them on Graceland 2, we got them on here, and Lucy Dacus, we already know that we're going to be getting them on Lucy Dacus' album, which is super exciting. Also, Julien said in an interview that they avidly try to like get together, and we can definitely expect like an LP from them, which is super fucking exciting, getting a full Boy Genius album, because then they'd probably tour again, and like everything would be right in the world if Boy Genius went on another tour. But that was super exciting to hear, because like I'd be happy about like another, you know, EP, but to get like an actual like full length Boy Genius album is everything. I will never get over Boy Genius forming in general. I think that like we didn't deserve that. Like, we did not deserve that, and like to get it again would be wonderful. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. Then I think it was like 2 days before the album came out or something like that, or like right before the album came out. I just saw it in passing. There was like something like you can get early access to, like, you could have gotten early access to Heatwave if you did I don't remember exactly what it was. But I purposely didn't do it because I don't like to listen to too much of an album before I listen to it, because I like the experience of like listening to the full album and kind of listening to most of it for the first time. Even like when Punisher came out, like I did not want to, like, I know like right before it came out, Phoebe performed Chinese Satellite on one of like on an Instagram Live or something, and I like did not listen to it. Like, I did not want to hear any more songs from Punisher until I was listening to the full album. I don't know. That's just a me thing. I just like the experience. I'm an album person. I just am. It's part of my pretentious nature. But yeah. So I purposely did not go and seek that out. I was just like, let me just wait for the album. Oh, I should also note that we heard Song in E on her KEXP sessions. So I kind of cheated and listened to that. But also I listened to it once. Like, I didn't keep listening to it. And two, we also heard Ringside because that was leaked. So like I think she performed it live, if I remember correctly, and people like released it on YouTube. I don't know if they were taken down. I know like when Phoebe performed her songs before Punisher came out, they were taken down. I don't know if Julien's were. I think they were, 'cause I remember going to send them to someone and they were taken down, but people were posting the lyrics. And I fucking love Ringside, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Anyway, now I'm going to go track by track, talk about some of my favorite lyrics. So she opens up the album with Hardline. Incredible song, like I said before. Might be my favorite single of the three. I don't know why. I don't want to say I don't know why, but I just mean, like, just something about it just hits different. I don't know. Someone tweeted, like something about Julien Baker is like, that bitch knows how to make a closer, and I totally agree, and I'm gonna double down and say also openers. I think the way that her albums are sequenced are always like perfect, and the openers and the closers are always like great bookends of the piece of work that she's putting out. You know, you have Sprained Ankle begins with Blacktop, which is a Sprained Ankle is like a different level of sad. Like it's so fucking sad, and I feel like starting Blacktop and for that album is that definitely sets the scene. And then obviously Go Home is probably one of my favorite album closers of all time. Definitely one of the saddest songs ever fucking written. And then you have Claws in Your Back, which is the closer of Turn Out the Lights and almost like a sequel to Go Home, which is incredible. And like the way that Turn Out the Lights starts with like that like overture or over going into Appointments is great. So I think Hardline is, just like the others, a great start to an album. You know, looking at it, it's not really it's not super wordy. It really is just the two verses. But my favorite part of the song is like the second part of the second verse, where she goes, "Say my own name in the mirror, and when nobody appears, say it's not so cut and dry. Oh, it isn't black and white. What if it's all black, baby, all the time?" So it's like one song in, and you're just like, all right, like we're doing this. This is a Julien Baker album, and it's gonna be really sad. It's gonna be real fucking sad. Okay, so Heatwave. What she told Apple Music was, "I wrote it about being stuck in traffic and having a full-on panic attack. But what was causing this delay was just this car that had a factory defect and bomb style exploded. I was like, man, someone got incinerated, a family maybe. The song feels like a fall." I was like, wow, I love this slide guitar. And then, like, you know, the first verse starts, I'm like, okay. And then once the second verse starts, I'm like, oh shit. And then the chorus comes on, and I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, we are 2 songs in, and she's saying, "I was on a long spiral down. Before I make it to the ground, I'll wrap Orion's belt around my neck and kick the chair out." And I was just like, this is a Julien Baker album. This is a Julien Baker album. And then we go into Faith Healer, which, you know, was the first single. We've all heard this one the most for sure. I like what she said to Pitchfork, and she said, put most simply, I think that Faith Healer is a song about vices, but the obvious and the more insidious ways that they show up in the human experience. I started writing this 2 years ago, and it began as a very literal examination of addiction. And knowing that knowing what we know, you know, a couple years ago, she was canceling shows and she went back to school and she was taking time for herself. We know that there were a lot of struggles there, and we know that there were a lot of things going on for her. So hearing what she was going through at that time, obviously breaks our fucking heart. You know, breaks our hearts. It's so sad. She's someone that, which is a theme on this album, she puts so much good out there, and she always is wondering why she gets so many second chances and why she's, you know, whatever. But I think she's meant to do what she's doing, and she is spreading awareness, and she's, you know, a voice for so many people, and I think that that's really important. But yeah, knowing that this is, you know, what she was going through at that time, it's just like, I think a lot of people were speculating that, and we were assuming that, but like, you know, to hear it firsthand, you know, everything that she was feeling at that time is just, it's so sad. 4th track is Relative Fiction, which might be one of my favorite songs on the album. Just for some reason, when the second verse starts and the drums kick in, I don't know, I just love that part. And like at that point when they kick in, and when she says, "When I could spend the weekend out on a bender, do I get callous or do I stay tender? Which of these is worse? Which is better? Dying to myself, virtually a massacre, a character of society's invention. A martyr in another passion play. I guess I don't mind losing my conviction. It's all relative fiction anyway. Do you see what I mean when I say like she's so intellectual? Like if you just like had that part clipped and read it to someone, like they wouldn't sound like song lyrics. Do you know what I mean? Her syntax, her word choice, like it's just so, it's mind-blowing. It's crazy. She's just so good at it, and like to make that sound like a song. Do you know what I mean? Like it takes like another level. Does that even make sense? Like it's just so crazy to me that like the way she speaks can like when you take the lyrics and you hear the end product and like it works well, because there are songs or artists that are too wordy and you're just like, that didn't make sense there. You know what I mean? Like that was like rough. But everything she says, she makes it work, and it works tremendously. So yeah, shout out to Julien Baker. Relative Fiction, definitely one of my, I would say probably like my top 3 songs of the album for sure. Then we go into track 5, which is Crying Wolf. Going into this, I'm like, I know it's a full band album, but I hope we get a really, really sad piano ballad. And of course we do. We get we get more than one, which is great. But yeah, this is the first piano ballad we get. And she told Apple Music, this song, it's documenting what it feels to be in a cyclical relationship, particularly with substances. There was a time in my life for almost a whole year where it felt like that. I think that is a very real place that a lot of people who struggle with substance use find themselves in, where the resolution of every day is the same and you just can't seem to make it stick. And the song starts with, day one chip on your dresser, get loaded at your house. I ask if you remember. You say I don't know what you're talking about. Swallow the truth. Force the charcoal down my throat. Once like I said, this is definitely the most, direct she's been. Talking about a day one chip on her dresser, it's just very, really putting it all out there. And I'm, really a slut for piano songs. They automatically grab my attention no matter what. Even on her other albums, like Hurt Less is one of my favorite songs of all time. I don't know, I just really automatically gravitate towards those songs. And this is just such a beautiful, beautiful song. And obviously with very sad lyrics. I don't want to sound like I'm glamorizing it. But the chorus, 'cause I'm not crying wolf, I'm out here looking for them. In the morning when I wake up, naked in their den, I swear off all the things I thought that got me here. In the evening, I'll come back again. Like I said, just peak sad songs. But I mean, that's, sad songs make me feel better. That's, her mantra. I think that people who don't really like sad songs are always like, well, why would you want to listen to sad songs? They're like, it'll make you feel sad or whatever. But I personally don't feel that way. I find it very comforting to listen to sad music. That's just my opinion. But whatever, no one asked. Literally no one asked. Anyway, then we go into Bloodshot. Lyrics from the song are included on the cover of the album. That lyric is, there's no glory in love, only the gore of our hearts, which is a very, very powerful lyric. This song is very, very, very candid, very specific. You have verse 2, 5 days out from the initial event. It's too kinds of pills to unclench my fist. It's too kind of you to say you can help, but there's no one around who can save me from myself. Yep. Once again, it's a Julien Baker album. And then we have Ringside, which is a very... this is also one of my favorites off the album. Like I said, it was a song that we heard before. It leaked or whatever, but I love the scratch off simile that she uses in the outro. Like a scratch off ticket, how you dig your nails into my skin. Honey, I'm not stupid. I know no one wins this kind of thing. It's just another way to kill an hour, wishing I were different. Nobody deserves a second chance, but I keep giving them. Like, it's crazy when she uses certain things like this. And I'm just like, how'd you come up with this? And to use it in this way. I don't know, I guess being smart helps with that kind of thing. I wouldn't know. She's literally so fucking smart. I mean, I remember when I first heard Shadowboxing off of Turn Out the Lights, and I was just like, that whole, using that as the center of the song, and that being the song title, and that whole metaphor, I don't know, I had a similar moment when I heard the scratch off ticket thing. I was just like, whoa, like she, like, I don't know. Just the way that she uses certain phrases and certain things as like a focal point. I don't know. I really just thought it was just brilliant. This whole song is just great. You know, the first verse, beat myself until I'm bloody and I'll give you a ringside seat. Say that it's embarrassing. I'm sorry that you had to see me like that. And what she said to Apple Music was, I have a few tics that manifest themselves with my anxiety and OCD. And for a long time, I would just straight up punch myself in the head, and I would do it on stage. It's this extension of physicality from something that's fundamentally compulsive that you can't control. I can't stop myself from doing that, and I feel really embarrassed about it. But for some reason, I also can't stop myself from doing other kinds of complicated self-punishment, like getting into codependent relationships and treating each one of those like a lottery ticket, like maybe this one will work out. It's just, it's crazy when you hear the actual songs and the lyrics, and also hearing her speak about it. It just adds this whole other layer, and it's crazy. It's insane. It's insane. So we have Favor, track 8, and this features Boy Genius, and what she told Apple Music about this one was, I have a friend whose parents live in Jackson, where my parents live. They're one of my closest friends, and they were around for the super dark part of 2019, which is what I was discussing before. I'll try to talk to the person who I hurt, or I'll try to admit the wrongdoing that I've done. I'll feel so much guilt about it, I'll cry. And then I'll hate that I've cried because now it seems manipulative. I'm self-conscious about looking like I hate myself too much for the wrong things I've done, because then I kind of steal the person's right to be angry. I don't want to cry my way out of shit. Like I said before, like, this is the most direct she's ever been. I think I also feel that way, like, when it comes to also the press of this album. She's definitely more open about things. I feel like she's done way more press for this album than she did for anything else. Maybe that's just also, like, her getting bigger. But, yeah, she definitely is a lot more open than she used to be. This song, for me, I always connect to Bloodshot because I feel like it's so specific to the situation that she's talking to. Like, they almost feel like mini, like, episodes of a TV show. Like, you picture everything that's happening. Like, when she says, in verse 2, sat on the hood out all night, trying to scrape together change. You pulled a moth out from the grill of your truck, saying it's a shame. How come it's so much easier with everything less than human? Letting yourself be so tender. Well, you couldn't make me do it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And, like, maybe that's a weird... Those two songs are not really connected at all. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just me. But, I don't know. They just feel so, situational. And we have another amazing piano ballad, Song in E. This is just so fucking... This song is just so fucking emotional. Starts off with, I wish that I drank because of you and not only because of me. And you're just like... And then I could blame something painful enough not to make me look any more weak. This is what you kind of come to expect when you're listening to a Julien Baker album. You're gonna get such transparency, you know? I like the endings of verses 2 and 3. Verse 2 ends with, I'd say give me no sympathy. It's the mercy I can't take. And then verse 3 ends with, I wish you would hurt me. It's the mercy I can't take. I think arguably verse 3 is probably the most emotional, and it's, oh, I wish you'd come over, not to stay, just to tell me that I was your biggest mistake to my face. And then you leave me alone in an empty apartment, face down on the carpet. I wish you'd hurt me. It's the mercy I can't take. Holy fuck. But that I wish you'd hurt me, I feel like is a strong theme in her music. Like, she really is such a masochist and feels like she deserves, like, such pain and such punishment. You know, can be very relatable. Fans of Julien Baker know that, like, outside of her music, obviously, like I say, she's very intellectual, but she's also very goofy, she's very funny, and I feel like that dichotomy is something that's pointed out a lot. Phoebe Bridgers is someone that's very similar, where people are always like, wow, your music's so sad, but you're so funny in real life. Like, obviously, people are, like, you know, three-dimensional, and, like, they're not just one thing. There's not just, like, one facet of everyone's personality. But when you're dealing with, when you're reading lyrics and listening to music that's like this dark, and then you think about the person, like Julien Baker, like, you're just like, you don't deserve to feel this way. You know what I mean? It's almost like, this is gonna sound like kind of like creepy. Maybe not, I don't know. But it's almost like when, like, your friend is, like, very upset about something and, like, you know, or is going through something and you're just like, you literally don't deserve this. Like, it makes you, like, frustrated for, like, not frustrated at them, but, like, just frustrated in general. You're like, why do they have to go through this? Why do they have to deal with this? Like, why do they have to think these thoughts? And it's something, like, similar with Julien. We're just like, I wish that you know, didn't think of yourself like this. She told Apple Music about this song. I would rather you shout at me like an equal and allow me to inhabit this imagined persona I have where I'm evil. Because then, if I can confirm that you hate me and that I'm evil and I failed, then I don't any longer have to deal with the responsibility of trying to be good. I don't any longer have to be saddled with the accountability for hurting you as a friend. It's something not balancing in the arithmetic of my brain for sin and retribution, for crime and punishment. And it indebts you as a person and ties you to them to be forgiven, which is just like, wow. It's a lot to unpack. One, if you experienced anything like this firsthand, whether, you know, through yourself or through another person, you've watched someone struggle with substance abuse or mental health issues or whatever, this is something that you can definitely relate to, you know, that, like, level of, like, self-hatred and stuff like that. It's something that is very, very real. Yeah, and just the way she articulated that was very, very good. She's very well spoken. But yeah, Song E is really fucking powerful. And then you have Repeat, which I really love the production of this song. I like the dynamics of this song. And the chorus of all my favorite fears turn out to be the gift of prophecy, all my nightmares coming true. Come do my outline in the street, while every night I reenact the same reoccurring dream. Now I'm stuck inside a vision that repeats. And then, like, I love the production choices with the very end of that, with the repeats, and then it goes into, like, the little outro of that song. 10 out of 10. And I know I keep pointing this out, but, like, now that I'm, like, looking at the lyrics, like, it's crazy that looking at it, it doesn't look like so much on a page, yet she sings so much. The last two songs are Highlight Reel and Zip Tie, and I think this is my favorite back-to-back combo on the album. I don't know why, but I just really, really like these two songs coupled together. Highlight Reel is a really, you know, interesting concept, and she told Apple Music, I was in the back of a cab in New York City, and I started having a panic attack, and I had to get out and walk. The highlight reel that I'm talking about is all of my biggest mistakes in that part. When I die, you can tell me how much is a lie, is when I retrace things that I have screwed up in my life. I can watch it on an endless loop and I can torture myself that way, or I can try to extract the lessons, however painful, and just assimilate those into my trying to be better. That sounds kind of corny, but it's really just, what other options do you have except to sit there and stare down all your mistakes every night and every day? You know, when you're at your lowest of times, or when you are upset or you're angry, that is where your mind goes a lot of the time, where you just, like, think of every bad thing you've ever done or every bad choice you ever made. And, you know, that song is just, you know, the song is really just a representation of that. You have verse 2. Pulling down a projector, scratched in the back of my eyes, hovering over, tangled in the power lines. And the chorus, it's a highlight reel. Tell me how you feel. And then we have Zip Tie, which is so, I don't even know where to begin. Like I said, this bitch knows how to make a closer, and that's for sure. It's just so good. She told Apple Music, I was watching people be restrained with zip ties on the news. It's just such a visceral image of violence to see people put restraints on another human being, on a demonstrator, on a person who is mentally ill, on a person who is just minding their own business, on a person who is being racially profiled. I had a dark, funny thought that's like, what if God could go back and be like, y'all aren't gonna listen? Jesus sacrificed himself, and everybody in the United States seems to take that as a true fact, but then shoot people in cold blood in the street. I was just like, why? When will you call off the quest to change people that are so hard to each other? The song opens up with limping like a prodigal son, Someone got my head in the slums. Everything I do makes it worse. Human nature, call it a curse. Tired of collecting my scars and stories at the parties and bars, trying to find a reason to fight. Someone's got my head in a zip tie. I really like the instrumentation of this song. Usually I am drawn to lyrics. That's like always what I say. Like that's definitely the forefront of my my listening experience as a music lover. I fucking love lyrics. But every once in a while there are like instrumentation. There is instrumentation that really throws itself at me, and this is definitely a song where it does that. Verse 2, catch me on the enemy line, hawking all the gold in my teeth. Oh, I was disappointed to find out how much everyone looks like me. And then you have the chorus, oh, good God, when are you going to call it off? Climb down off the cross and change your mind. Good God, when are you going to call it off? Climb down the cross and change your mind. I feel like her closers, you just have to listen to them. But yeah, that's it. That's Little Oblivions by Julien Baker. And it is seriously such an incredible fucking album. And I can't stress enough how impressive it is that she tracked everything. Like, she did everything. She's just such a talented musician across the board. And I have so much love and respect for Julien Baker. Can't wait to see these songs live with a band eventually at some point. I hope that if you don't listen to Julien Baker, hearing me talk about it all this fucking time made you want to go and listen to the album. And you absolutely should. Julien Baker, like I said, is one of my favorite artists of all time. And she really put everything into this album. And overall, it is just so great and so powerful and emotional, and just everything and more you could have expected from a Julien Baker album. With all that being said, since I just talked about it the whole time, I don't want to make one of my songs of the day Julien Baker. I'm gonna make my song of the day something else. Twitter got me really into this artist Kylie V, and the song of the day is Solace. So I highly recommend you listen to it. I highly recommend you listen to the whole album, honestly. They are so good, and they're only 17, which is crazy. They are an amazing singer-songwriter. I've been listening to their album, Big Blue, a lot. And thanks for listening to me. Thanks for sticking around. And hopefully, I get better at being consistent and not being lazy. But as always, stay kind and stay sad.